6 cards and $15 is all you'll need to take the Hosts of Mordor pre-constructed commander deck to the next level. The formula is simple. For each card type found in the deck, creatures, sorceries, instants, artifacts, enchantments, and lands, we will remove 1 card and replace it with 1 card. Let's kick it off with creatures. There are 28 of them in this deck, and 14 of them cost 5 or more mana. Even though this deck has plenty of ways to get those high-cost creatures into the graveyard and recur them onto the battlefield, we still need castable creatures, and that means lowering the mana curve. For that reason, we are removing the 4 colorless and 2 red giant Inferno Titan. This creature can spread a little pain with its 3 damage ETB effect and pump its power, but its lack of evasiveness and inability to cycle itself into the graveyard have it missing the cut. In its stead, the 2/2 black Ravenous Chupacabra will be joining the squad. When the Beast Horror enters the battlefield, you destroy a target creature an enemy controls. This offers the reliable targeted removal this deck desperately needed. I'm also more than happy to have this creature block something way above its weight class, because resurrecting it from the graveyard will return the favor in short order. The land list also features Path of Ancestry that will let you scry 1 if you use that mana to cast the Ravenous Chupacabra, since the creature and your commander Sauron, Lord of the Rings, share the horror creature type. This little synergy probably won't be winning you any games, but it's pretty neat. This creature costs only 79 cents through the Card Kingdom. All the prices in this video will be the Card Kingdom prices. This is not a sponsorship, they just have prices that will likely most closely align with your local game stores. And supporting your community scene when you can is what Magic is all about. Onto sorceries and the removal of Boon of the Wishgiver. This is another expensive spell at 4 and 2 blue that lets you draw 4 cards with a 1 colorless cycle to discard it to the graveyard and draw 1 card. The card advantage is nice. I'm never going to be mad about drawing 4 cards, and frankly the artwork is incredible. But we can do better with Treasure Cruise. One reason this spell is powerful in this deck is the Delve ability, granting you 1 colorless mana for every card you exile from your graveyard. With all the looting and milling that you'll be doing as the game progresses, your graveyard will be chock full of spells by the time you need those drawn cards. And if you exile multiple cards to cast it, you'll be able to use the spells you draw in the same turn, which feels so much better than dropping 6 mana and hoping you get another turn to do stuff. The second reason is its synergy with Saruman the White Hand, the competing creature to command this deck. Saruman amasses Orcs X for the mana value of every non-creature spell you cast, and you are going to feel real freaking slick, casting Treasure Cruise for 1 blue mana and amassing Orcs 8. Treasure Cruise is 35 cents. Down the line to instant spells, of which there are only 6. 4 of those instants are some variation of card advantage plus spells in the graveyard, which is excellent, don't get me wrong, but felt like 1 too many. So the removed spell is Thrill of Possibility. This spell has been printed many times and seen plenty of action, so I don't think most folks will be upset seeing the spell sitting this one out. It's 1 and a red, discard a card, draw 2 cards. It's a fine card, but the replacement is a great card, and will be focused on the other side of that graveyard to battlefield pipeline. Malakir Rebirth, costing $5.99. This is a 1 black instant that will also cost you 2 life, but cheats death for 1 of your creatures. After your creature dies, rather than entering the graveyard, it will re-enter the battlefield tapped. This unfortunately can't be a complete blowout moment by rebirthing Sauron to chain recursion, because you need to cast Sauron to activate his abilities, but this deck has plenty of ETB payoffs and creatures you want on the battlefield throughout the creature list that will make this spell shine. It's also a land on the flip side. There are 8 artifacts in this deck, and they are all mana rocks, and with such a high mana curve, the rocks are always a welcome sight. One of them just doesn't quite fit in though, and that is the Ever-Flowing Chalice. When it comes down to it, I just don't want a 0 mana spell in a deck that has Saruman the White Hand in the 99 or as the commander. It just feels bad spending any mana knowing none of it will convert to your orc army. The Ever-Flowing Chalice will be replaced with the legendary artifact Mask of Griselbrand. You may be thinking, this is a curious choice, and I grant you that, but I promise it will all come together, especially if you tune into the end. Flying and lifelink are excellent keywords, and with the sheer power of the creatures in this deck, deck, a few swings can nearly double your starting life total. But with even one successful hit, you'll be more than happy to take advantage of the second ability, paying life equal to the creature's power to draw cards equal to the creature's power. The value is through the roof, and the spell only costs 99 cents. The second to last card type is enchantments, and the unlucky spell to be removed is Shiny Impetus. The idea behind it makes sense. This deck needs time to get going, and by goading a creature, you are at the very least saving yourself the hurt from an opponent's creature attacking you, and ideally you'll be gifted multiple treasure tokens as the creature attacks turn after turn after turn. It's just a touch unreliable. If that creature gets removed before it even gets an attack off, it's just a full-blown nightmare. So we are going to keep the theme of the spell by replacing it with the more consistent $1.99 Curse of Opulence. This spell curses a player rather than a creature for only 1 red mana, and gives some encouragement to the non-cursed opponents to have a go at that player by granting a gold token to anyone that attacks them. This is group huggy, and you may not be the player that gets the most value in terms of treasure out of the spell, so make sure you're wheeling and dealing to make sure everyone knows that they should be thanking you rather than spanking you. Last but not least are the lands, and this was without a doubt the easiest choice of them all. We are getting rid of a basic mountain to add the place where the story begins, Mount Doom. This is a pain land that can tap for a black or a red, but can also spread some pain of its own. If you spend 1, a black, and a red tapping the land, you can deal 1 damage to each opponent. Its last ability is where the addition of the Mask of Griselbrand will make more sense, because if you spend 5, a black, and a red to tap and sacrifice Mount Doom and a legendary artifact, you wipe the board of creatures, saving 2 of your choice. The flavor is a huge win, and the land can really save you in a pinch. It's currently going for $4.99. Altogether, the 6-card upgrade costs $15.10, boosts the power level, and makes it more fun to play. At least one of these videos will be coming out of every other pre-constructed Tales of the Middle-earth Commander set. So if you enjoyed the content and want to watch those when they release, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Like the video and let me know in the comments what changes you would have made.